Hello, good morning
Good
and good
morning.
afternoon to everyone. Um, I'm really pleased to be here with you for this first webinar. We are organizing for the companies that will work with us and that will exhibit in the Summer Fancy Food Show. And for this first webinar, I have the great honor to have with us Daniela Puglielli, which is our US partner, working with us to assist and to coach the companies. And Daniela is a principal of Accent PR and founder of the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable. She's a strategist with extensive experience in the planning, execution, and promotion of brandings, international partnerships, and media relations. So she holds a master's degree in communication from the University of Torino, in Italy, and a master's degree in performing arts from the Conservatorio di Musica di Pescara. So in 2015, she established the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable, a pivotal think tank dedicated to advocating for healthy products and lifestyles in America. So, with her large experience, she knows very well the US market, and today she will give you some recommendation on how to position your company on the US market. So, thank you, Daniela, for being with us, and I give you the floor.
Thank you, Valid. Thank you, Valid. It's an honor and a pleasure to be collaborating with you, with your esteemed organization. And let's see if we can dive into unlocking the American market. So, shall we start with the presentation? Please remember you can ask questions through the comments and chat, and Valid will be so gracious to share it with me. As every year we go to the fancy food show, there is so much excitement, so much delight into attending this international show, where companies from all over the world attend and try to present their products. But is that enough to have a product? What I would like to share with you today is are you ready for this market? Yes, you heard about distribution channel importing, but are you ready? What sets your product apart from any other? Are you familiar with this huge marketplace? So we organized this presentation in a different section. The foundation of what I would like you to interiorize today is to create a mindset about what should you do before attending the fancy food show. So a general introduction, how you engage your audience, and what does it mean an audience? It's not one audience, it's choosing the audience. What is your unique value proposition? And then some final tips to review if you are actually ready before answering the Q&A. As a foundation, we are going to review why the US market is a desirable marketplace. We have this notion of America like a block. It's not a block. To go from Los Angeles to New York, it's like going from Madrid to Moscow. It's a continent. It's huge. It's diversified, not just by different climates, but different ethnic groups and age groups and attitude towards spending. If it's easy to go to the store, or it's more challenging and everything is produced, manufactured locally. We also need to address a very crucial question. nobody needs anything. There is an abundance of so many different products coming to this market from all over the place. So how can your product stand out compared to everybody else? The answer lies in understanding the consumer behavior. There are different models. I chose to discuss only two of them. And understanding the generational segmentation. Segmentation is a marketing word that defines groups. Okay, so age groups, spending by age group, what do they care, what do they value? And then a little example of changing trends. So why is America such a desirable marketplace? On the column on your right, you can see the population is a continent that has more or less a certain characteristics. If you go to Europe or to Africa, you have many different languages. Here they speak only one language, which it's a factor that you should remember for later on. There are more than 330 million people with a great spending power, great infrastructure to ship things from one place to the other. And there is also quite advanced in the policy, paying by credit card. So you don't need to be physically present. There is a huge impact of the e-commerce with Amazon that is based out of Seattle and accounts for about 80% of all the revenues generated in e-commerce. The e-commerce per se, it's about less than 15%, about 13%. But of that 13%, 80% alone is represented by Amazon. There is a great spending power, which also is important in terms of investing on products, especially new, exotic, learning something that is interesting, and has a solid trend in terms of employment, which is generating a sentiment about investing in the future. Very important for the economy. But as we said, nobody needs anything. You can see from this image, when you go to the supermarket, there is an overwhelming abundance of products. It's called the paradox of choice. You have so many products that in the end, you don't know which one to choose. So we're talking about more than 30,000 products for one chain, for one store, one supermarket. And you understand that to communicate with each one of your potential customers, it's not an easy task, right? You are not going to be there in presence to whisper about how good, how special your product is. So we need to find a way, before attending the fancy show, we need to find a way to communicate instantly in 3 seconds what is your product about. And that's why it's important to understand how people, how consumers go to a store and make a choice. There are many models. I like one very simple called AIDA. AIDA, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action. But everything starts with the attention. So to develop the attention which motivates an interest and the desire, and finally the action to buy your product, you have to capture, you have to define your product. You have to analyze why should someone buy my product? Only because it has a long history, a long tradition? Is it the taste? Is something more intangible? Is just because of the price or the value? It's a very important difference. Another consumer behavior that can motivate the purchase of a product is it's called the buyer's black box. The black box is, as you know, in an airplane, is all the information that gets into that airplane. And so is our brain that collects all the information that's going on around us, inside us, and there is a response. So some of those inputs are marketing stimuli. And you know very well the 4P, the product, the price, the place, the promotion. You can see on the top left image rectangle. So all of that's a given. You have to ended up with an actual product, right? So to have a package, you have to know how much it costs, including the different factors, the duties, the transportation, the promotion. But then there are other external stimuli. There are other information that we collect, and those are economic, legal or political, favoring a certain kind of products versus others. Technological, because might have a QR code or might represent something completely new. Like those, I just received as a gift a bottle that puts hydrogen in the water. All of those information influence gets to us, and according to our own specific characteristics, the buyer characteristics, develop a certain decision process. And so we are going to decide what product, and within that product, what brand choice. If it's specific to a country, or it's more specific to a specific brand from that country. Example, if you want to buy tea, more likely you're going to buy Chinese tea, Indian tea, although Turkey is the largest consumer of tea per capita in the world. If you want to buy pasta and you want to impress your guest dinner, more likely you're going to buy an Italian brand. Although I just learned from my friend Walid that Tunisia is actually the second consumer of pasta in the world. So those are all elements that influence the buyer response. Then there is the retail, the purchase timing. If you choose a holiday context to present your products, the amount of purchase according, one of the mistakes that we see more frequently is, well, tell me how much you buy and I'll give you a price according to that. That's, a big no. You have to know your price, your different levels, and has to be set. Everything above that, it's a different discussion. But you have to know your different proposition already when you arrive. So Progressing quickly into this consumer behavior and model approach, the black box as a sort of matrix. Okay, there are elements like the level of investment, of involvement of the consumer in the choice, or what role have the difference between one brand to another in making this choice. And so in this matrix that we have to interiorize before preparing our material for the show, we have on the top right corner the complex buying behavior. So we investigate, we ask ourselves a lot of questions, we compare different brands. Why? Because it's a substantial investment. So we want to make sure that is something we really will be happy with, because it's going to last with us. The classical example are cars. But you can apply it to food as well. So if you're going to invest in a bottle of very expensive extra virgin olive oil, you want to know what you are trying to purchase and why that bottle is $24 or $30 for less than a liter. So this is something that is influenced, like we saw before, by many different inputs that determine our attitude towards spending. Another role that still has a good level of involvement, but it's called dissonance reducing buying behavior, is driven more by the comfort. So we look more for price. So the importance of the brand is not so relevant for what we are going to do. So yes, there is a lot of investment from the buyer, but is not as important the difference between brands. And that's when we look at the price. Example, you have to fill your car with gas, and you choose the most cost effective. Applied to food, you need to prepare a meatloaf. And so the difference between one kind of cheese or another, it's minimal compared to the quality of meat or other ingredients. Then we go to the habitual buying behavior. So it's something that you repeat, you like to have it, but there is neither too much level of involvement or the difference between one brand and another brand, it's very minimal. Example, milk. You don't find your favorite milk, you buy another one. Why? Because you need that specific ingredient. And this shapes the kind of communication that you are going to use on your packaging to connect with that consumer. The last category in the matrix is the variety-seeking buying behavior. And this is exactly where you want to be. Why? Because the buyer in this category do not have a strong involvement with the product. But that's our asset, because they more likely are going to change. They're going to taste and try something new. And that's exactly where you want to be. Why? Well, this is true all over the place, but in America, it's especially true. The generational segmentation means that you have to use a different semantic, a different way, a different language with each one of those categories. Divided by roughly 15 years, you will find many different descriptions from one source to another. But the most important are who has enough money to invest in my products, right? So the generation alpha, they are youngsters. They are just too young. But you want to groom those consumers because one day they can be, your core buyers. There is the Generation Z, born between 1997 to 2012. They have some spending power. The oldest are in their late 20s, and they are they are stressed by money. There is a lack of vision for the future. And look at those numbers, 70 millions of the entire population is in that category. So 70 million buyers in America are affected by certain criteria in their purchase compared to others. This is a very important generation that everybody is targeting right now, the millennial. Millennials are mostly born between 1981 to 1996, again, about 15 years per generation. Those are about 72 millions, and those are the ones that speak about climate change, sustainability, fair trade, and they do have that spending power that we are seeking. So we want to talk to this generation, 72 millions, and so forth, so on. As you can see, the silent generation that are, on the older side of the spectrum, they will resonate with a certain kind of messages, right? For example, health. But in total, they represent a portion of the population that look the difference, less than 20 millions, and they don't have a substantial spending power because once you retire, you have a certain decrement in your spending capability. So what the buyers care about? Again, all this exercise is the foundation to understand what we communicate to them on those beautiful packages or in this narrative that you create with your importer, with your buyer. So each one of those categories, the Gen Z, the millennials, the Gen X, the baby boomer, each one of them cares about a certain message, resonates more with a certain message. So, do you eat healthy? Of course, after the pandemic, who doesn't want to eat healthier? The response of the correlation of nutrition and resilience to sickness, it's evident. With the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable, we try to capitalize on the healthy profile of this eating pattern, which is common to all of you in the Mediterranean, to the resilience of the human body to sickness. So, as you can see, the older they are, the more responsive to eat healthy is in terms of interest. But the millennials and the Gen X, that are millions, we're talking about millions of prospects, they are very sensitive too, more than 50%. So this is going to be important for what we are about to see. And I want to eat healthier, but what are my challenges in terms of this good goal? Well, I'm sure you heard this already, but to eat healthier, it's very expensive. Buying organic, it's very expensive in this country. So this is in red because it's a big no-no, or it's more complicated to use it. It requires times and skills that I don't have, which is important once again for the narrative that we are about to build, or I simply don't know. I'm sure everybody is familiar with harissa, but not here. It's not a common ingredient. Same for so many different spices and fruits. And you may say, well, but I'm interested in my ethnic market. Well, if you don't segment by age, you may think that segmenting by ethnic market is a good idea. But you have to look at numbers. And in marketing, numbers always tell the truth. The North African population is not a significant market. It's less than 1 million or 1.5 millions with the descendants and North African Americans, which means that in a continent, because America is a continent, we just said that is huge, to reach your target segment population, we require so much money, so much time, that it's not worth it. You should focus on those other categories, and we are going to see how. Are trends changing in the marketplace? Yes, from one year to the other, and once you get the slides, you can verify all this information, of course. You can see from this infograph how people is less keen to invest in green products. So is this a value? Well, before less than 60%, 57% in 2023, only 1 year ago, was willing to invest more in purchasing green products. Now, a little bit less, 44%. Okay, so this gives us an important information about what value to project, what unique value proposition, what makes your product unique. Which brings us to the second portion of this presentation, engaging with your audience. I know that only yesterday, some of you attended another seminar about the channels of distribution in this country. So I'm not going to invest a lot of time about describing each one of them. However, each one of them has specific characteristics that are very important for the semantic, for the language, for what we are going to communicate. So the direct to consumer is when the distance between the manufacturer, the producer, and the consumer is direct. There is not an importer that has to select your product, has to choose your product. There is not a buyer that needs to take up the responsibility of choosing, investing in your product. Put yourself in the shoes of a buyer. It means that he's betting on you that the company he represents will be able to sell to his own audience. So the screening of the products of buyers attending the fancy food show is driven by minimizing the risk. Okay, I choose products that are easy to sell, not because I don't like you or because I think that your product doesn't have an outstanding quality or value, but because I have a risk. I represent the interests of someone else that once purchase your product in whichever category, it means that has to sell. Otherwise, it's a loss. Okay. Direct to consumer minimize this risk. Why? Because there are not other intermediaries in selecting your product, and this should be reflected on the way you communicate on the package. There are, of course, retailers' stores. Some are gourmet, some are ethnic, but numerically they are very small. They are not significant. There are supermarkets. There are membership-based like Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's. So the volume of the packages are completely different. There are then the food service, and this is a specialty of the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable. Restaurants, of course, franchising of restaurants. Think about Greek restaurants like Cava or Zoe's Kitchen. Those are hundreds of stores that might be purchasing even one single ingredient and make your fortune. Another estimated environment are colleges and universities. Remember, colleges and universities are where the young generations go. So that's your first exposure to that category of consumers that you can educate and you can make closer to your product. Some of them have very large distributions, like University of Massachusetts actually produces 55,000 meals every day. Now try to put one olive or one date on those meals and you understand the scale, the proportion. Senior centers, hospitals, and another interesting channel that I don't know if you ever consider are to use your product as an ingredient, not as a product per se. Example, a spice, not just as a spice, but as an ingredient for something else. I did this with the truffle. So truffle cheese is a reality. You would lose the precious mushroom, the truffles, if you don't use within a certain time or you don't preserve in a certain fashion. And so by combining two products, in your case, could be a spice, it could be tea, could be date as an ingredient of some sweets. You can boost immediately the potential of sales. You can be part of gift baskets, a huge market in this. So we have to be creative or create private labels, not to be attached to your own brand, but be part of a larger families of brand that promotes your product. And who are those main grocery channels? Well, there are the mainstream publics. You might have heard the Kroger, H-E-B, etc. Target, it's a mass merchandiser. Club stores, we mentioned Costco, dollar stores, the online retailers. So all the different categories of distribution. And when they go shopping, what do Americans buy? Well, dairy products, fresh produce, snack foods. You learn from another presentation that the snack sector is one of those categories that is exploding, right? So healthy snacks, bread and pastries and related products, frozen goods. You can get the full list. And now we get to the core of this presentation. Let's define your brand. This is the exercise you really should be focusing on. So we learned there are different attitudes from different behaviors from the consumer. They look to different values from different perspectives, either geographically or age-related. But what defines your brand? And how do you communicate this brand? Who are your competitors and why they are competitors in the matrix of the consumer behavior? They can be in your same position. Well, here I started to collect some of the C's that convey an immediate value. So, are you dairy-free? Are you halal? Are you gluten-free? Do you have any of those symbols? Are your products vegan? Are fair trade? So each one of them carry a benefit, an instant message that you don't have to explain. And if you don't have to explain, you gain instant recognition. Some of those could be a little bit on the edge. Maybe you are not an organic product, but it's a natural product. So 100% natural or made with organic, one product of many, or how you can define is a good source of vitamin C. Tabbouleh has a lot of parsley, and parsley is contains more vitamin C than an orange. Fun fact. Health claims, either because you can certify them or because you can promote a study. We do this with extra virgin olive oil, right? Certain olive oil have a profile that is very healthy, but especially good for certain sickness like cardiovascular disease, which kills a lot of people in this country. Or could be something natural rich in. One ingredient that is hot is a trend that is very important, or is approved by a certain specific board, like the seal of whole grain. So each one of them, along with the other symbols, either certified who you are or communicate that little extra edge. You can also, and I'm Italian, as you hear from my accent, you can also play on the packaging. The packaging is the very first thing you see on those shelves or on the page that you're going to visit. And does it convey an emotion? Doesn't have to be costly. I chose those because those are all very cost effective. But see the nice texture. It's just a box of pasta, but it's the texture, the colors, the information, very simple but very rich. See here you have all on the box of the pasta on the side, it's USDA approved, is kosher, is turmeric, so it's something that some sort of food innovation, right? It's doesn't matter that is from the Ande, South America. I fall in love with this. I want to try this product because I feel connected. And furthermore, it gives me with the different, it's not a QR code, but I can follow them and see what they do in terms of their, corporate behavior. What do they do? How do they give back? Okay, so an evocative packaging, recipes, very important to display the recipes. Sometimes you get those packaging that to save on the different countries producer export to, they use all the space to list the ingredients in English, French, German, Italian, Arabic, Chinese. You don't need that. You're wasting precious real estate. You're wasting precious space to communicate a recipe, a blurb about the company, about the history behind the brand. Or you can use a QR code, not to mention promotion and contest and sweepstakes. Sweepstakes are when you get a gift. Example, you collect a number of codes, of EN codes, and you get a plate, a bowl, a tagine. You buy 12 packages of couscous and you earn a mini tagine or a mini olive oil dipper bowl. So all things that enhance the experience, connect, generates loyalty. And again, what is the value? We are not talking about price. We are talking about value that you convey. Well, of course, the trend is under the eyes of everybody. It's a sustainability. The Mediterranean diet is a sustainable diet because of the proportion between vegetables and meat, source of proteins from plants compared to meat. But how do we convey and how important? Well, here, once again, divided by each age group, you can see how important it is to communicate your attitude towards sustainability. Example, if you use recycling packaging, right? That's a very important way to contribute. Or if you use products that are strong in being produced in a sustainable way. So zero pollution, recyclable materials, minimized packaging, all values that are very important for those two categories that are our target markets. So again, in this exercise to contemplate what to say, how to prepare, what to communicate about who you are and what you do. The difference is not about to be the cheapest price on the marketplace. It's about value. What is the value that you're bringing to consumers? So quality for sure has to be there. So if you have ISO qualifications, or if you can qualify that, very good. The product has to be good, has to have a certain flavor profile, has to be relevant. Okay, so you have to create a need. Remember AIDA, l'attention, interest, the desire, what that could be. You need to try this because it's a revolutionizing taste, or is produced with certain attention to the territory, or as boost in your flavor portfolio. Okay. The experience is a very important word in food today. Nobody needs to eat, they need to experience. So capitalizing on the trips that they have done in your beautiful part of the world, you can capitalize on that experience, those colors, combining sometimes the pleasure of the taste with the pleasure of something else, of seeing, of a magnet for their fridge. The convenience, it has to be accessible, has to be not one-time deal. So you have to really get ready and prepare and scale the operation to be for the long term. Please consider not to come just to try. Just to try is a perfect waste. You have to plan for at least 2 or 3 years. So, to recap this section, the important attributes that a product should show are the certification, like a fair trade, or if it's a B corporation, or if it's kosher or halal, or if you are involved in any charitable activities, if it's something natural, free range, no GMO, very big, the sustainable packaging, etc., etc. The organic sourcing. Of course, the price is still important, but remember, you can always play with price. It's not proportional, I give you that, but you can always play with price. How? Quantity, portion size. So it's very important. It's an option that you want to consider. So in this exercise, your unique value proposition, in creating this narrative, this storytelling, almost 60% of the US consumer, they are keen to purchase something that is healthy. Healthy how? Either because they target a specific disease, gluten-free, good for cardiovascular, etc., or because they are good for the environment. Okay, 56%. They like to connect. This is a huge number. Again, if you scale the proportion to the millions in population of the United States, you can appreciate how much this means. They want to know about you. They want to connect with you. So sharing narratives that are important for the diverse, the kaleidoscope of people, histories, ethnic groups, it's very important. And 38%, so it's substantial, but not a staggering number, say that they would prefer brands that focus on price, so economy size, to help with the price. There is one value underlying everybody in this exercise, and this is the Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet is the best overall diet in the United States, according to U.S. News, for the 7th year in a row, and we like to think we play a small role. So to leave enough space for some question from you, in getting ready to attend the Fancy Food Show, try to highlight your unique value proposition in a fashion that builds trust and credibility, and capitalize on the emotional connection. Choose the best pricing strategy, remembering that consumers are looking for some sort of value. It could be value in price, other kind of values. Some example. See, I chose those packaging so you can see instantly how big brands translate the values we are talking about. You can see the word organic or the leaves that they use to communicate immediately the connection with nature. The calories, see, this is a snack that is baked and it's only 230 calories, which is great for a breakfast, right? And gives you 4 hours of focus. This is heart-friendly, USDA approved. Other example, this is clearly for children, right? With the playful, this is Trader Joe's, so private label, made with organic wheat and oats. Doesn't mean that the entire product is organic, but see how smart it is. This is once again playing with leaves, the word nature, low sodium. So this is targeting a disease, right? Etc. This is a masterpiece. You cannot appreciate the texture, but it's almost like a rough canvas. And look at this. It's a plant-based snack, which is baked. So double good. Since 1960, gives you instant history. See? Organic, leaves, non-NGO, GMO, masterpiece. And this could be you. This is how you create a product already on the market. This is clearly ethnic, as all the different, you can see what it is on the back. There are recipes, conveys the different values and seals. So for those of you who are interested in getting this presentation, this is a checklist. What is your unique value proposition? Is because of the price, the FDA, and the different size. Did I win any award? Example, for olive oil, there are a lot of awards that, create some sort of empathy and excitement. Is halal, kosher, gluten-free, sugar-free. So this is a simple exercise for you to take home and try to apply to your own. So the final tips. Are you ready? Are you really ready? How do you convey your unique value proposition? How do you structure your price? Don't think at the immediate. Think in stage. Think in terms of at least 2-3 years. What is your marketing mix proposition. Are you going to target by age group, by geographic distribution, by ethnic group, or sales channels? Those are all the components that you should look at to truly create an efficient experience for when you will attend the Fancy Food Show. And if you have any question, Walid will share them with me.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniela, for this very interesting presentation. Now we have, I think, we have still 3 minutes, so maybe we can take 2 or 3 questions only. So Ahmad says, are premium specialty foods adapted to be marketed through e-commerce platforms?
They are usually the same. They are the same, but they do require on e-commerce platform that they have the front and back label, the nutritional label. So in order for you to qualify for e-commerce, it's not just about having an importer and a warehouse that says through Amazon or through other channels. Amazon is the biggest, but it's not the only one. However, you have to have a very good images. This is a very important question. Thank you, Hamad. You have to have a suite of images of your entire packaging. So front, back label, side, and they don't need to be different, but you need to share with your importer.
Thank you, Daniela. Is there any other question? Sonia, what are the states to target in priority when entering the US market for a Tunisian exporter of harissa?
Thank you for this question, Sonia. It's very important. There are certain capitals in the United States that are very responsive to food innovation. The most obvious is New York City, of course. It's the gastronomic capital, but it's also very difficult to enter, and it's ephemeral. The way you enter, the way you go. There are other locations that are also very important. And one of them is Aspen, Colorado, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, some others cluster of innovation are in Oregon, and of course in some other pockets around the country. Once you want to propose your product, Sonia, you should see if it's as an ingredient or as a standalone. Okay, because if it's a standalone, then you have to look at the cuisines. Okay, some cuisines, some climate are more keen to use harissa. It's spicy, right? It could be penguin. So there are certain cuisines in the United States, like the Cajun cuisine, or the Mexican cuisine, or the Tex-Mex, that are more keen to welcome new ingredients that are of the same profile but different, of the same category but new and exciting. So in that respect, this exercise will help you identify which of those cuisines and which of those markets are easier to enter. Then if you want to enter in Whole Foods, which is a supermarket, and you want to enter with your own product, then you have to go to the regional. It's organized not by store, by regional retailers. So there is the entire Atlantic region, Texas is where they have the headquarters, like Central Market. For sure, Central Market would be receptive. It's part of HEB, so the very high-end section of HEB.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. Maybe a last question, because we have, I think, this one. So, Marwa, as an exporter of margarine and butter ghee, what's your advice to us, please? We are starting exporting our products to Africa.
So that's a very interesting question. Ghee is having a renaissance. So this, I would start with identifying a chef that can use your product and champion your product in specific recipes. And I would start not with e-commerce, because your product needs refrigeration and it adds a level of complexity that it's not easy to overcome. So I would start exploring a connection with one or two chefs that you can excite to use your product, and with that grow the market and learn from the different applications, because not everybody is familiar with ghee. And margarine, as you know, it's in big contrast to olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, which is, right now a big trend. So there is a market, but you have to start with someone championing, in my advice, in my experience.
Thank you, Daniela. We have maybe another, can we add another few minutes, Daniela? Because I think there are another 2 questions or 3 questions. So this one from Lamia. You talked about universities as a very important point of sale. Do you know any distributors who specialize in this distribution channel, or maybe some ideas on how to target this channel?
Yeah. There are, yes, the short answer is there are distributors that are specializing in serving universities environments. So some of them are part of a very large conglomerate that's called Restaurant Associate, part of Compass Group. And they have a division called Chartwell. Chartwell has their core business to serve colleges, universities. There are other distributors, Gordon Food Service, one we partner with very often, Cisco, although it's more specialized in different sectors, PFG, Performance Food Group, as well as US Food. So each one of those distributors specializes in products. Example, US Foods has a certain line of products. Baldor, which is emerging as a distributor, especially on the East Coast, as high-end products. So the same university might have multiple distributors to source different portions of their pantry. And it depends from the level, the quality, the profile of your product to access those. We work with UMass, I mentioned, Yale Universities, Northeastern, lots and lots and lots of meals. So you really remember the distributor, it's not always the same role as the importer, right? So here it's called the 3-tier system. The importer, which not necessarily coincides with the distributor because of the monopoly. So they try to keep those two aspects different. So importer, distributor, and retailer or food service. Okay. So depending from your specific product, Lamia, from the profile and the application, we can address you to a specific distributor.
Thank you. So we have another question about which is Hajer. Could you give us an idea about the behavior of the American market for pasta products?
Excellent question. Pasta is what's called the comfort food, right? Comfort food that is the supreme good and the supreme bad. If you look at pasta as a carbohydrate, then everybody say, "Oh no, it's going to make me fat," because some other diets. The number one is Mediterranean diet, but especially for the for certain category of people, there is the paleo diet or the keto diet that capitalize a lot on proteins. No pasta, although pasta has protein as well, but has more carbohydrates. So to overcome this aspect, there are two ways. The first is that if you don't overcook pasta, and so you indicate in the recipe, once again, al dente, it means that it doesn't develop that attributes of, be conducive to insulin and glycemic peak. So it means that your pasta is healthy, okay? It's not gluten-free unless you use a special mix. Example, there are pasta, I show you turmeric, there is pasta made with rice flour or with farro, spelt, or even chickpeas, garbanzo beans. So either you move on the innovation, but so far not even Barilla, which is a leading brand in the world, has that much luck in using a different type of flours, or you work on your recipe and your communication in your narrative, and you present as the most cost-effective meal that brings the table together. Even if a package of 1 pound pasta, 454 grams, less than half kilo, even if it costs $8, it feeds at least 4 people. So in the end, even with the sauce, even with the olive oil, even with the cheese, it's still less than a McDonald's hamburger. And that's a story that needs to be told, right? So how could you position your pasta? Well, again, with facts, like I learned from Walid that Tunisia is a great producer of pasta, or I'm very familiar with couscous from Morocco and the Maghreb region, but maybe there are other specialties, other formats that we are not so familiar with. So how do you use it? How do you implement in intriguing, exciting recipes? That's what I would do.
Thank you, Daniela. Maybe a last question from Lotfi. Is FDA approval mandatory to export to the USA?
Yes. There
Yes.
are different, yes. There are different sets of regulations, okay? The FDA or the USDA need to approve the facility, okay, with FISMA, which is a very important step to protect the consumer. Don't take it wrongly. It's a way to protect the population, the American population, from someone that improvises to start the production of something, and maybe it's unhealthy. So by certifying the production of those products, okay, FDA and USDA protect the overall health of the citizens. Why it's important? Maybe you don't produce those goods, but think about the prosciutto, the jambon, the Iberico. It's not distinctive of your country, but as we said at the beginning, there are from all over the world trying to enter this country. So one thing beautiful about America is that the law is equal for everybody. So this is the law. You need to register your facility. What you are referring to is the FDA registration number, which is different. The registration number is you as a person might have an identification, right, in your country. In Italy is carta d'identità. Here as citizen we have the social security number. So companies have a unique identification, okay? This identification is to be used in case there are problems. So it's the legal entity representing you in the United States. So let's say that you export a salad, and that salad has, unfortunately, a bacteria that is making people sick. How do they connect with you? Only because you have something written on your package? No, you must have, just like you would as a persona, as an individual, you must be registered. So to have the FDA registration is something fairly easy. There is a number that corresponds to your specific product category. I think it's HUISD, the number. I'll make it available to Valid. And based on that, and your name, address, your legal name and address, you generate the FDA. Okay? Then you must have an agent in the United States. It is the juridical person. It's the entity that represents you in case something goes wrong. Example, you ship something and they stop that something. Who's going to pay? Where are they going to choose you? Every day that they stop something at the custom, it's a lot of money. So don't take it wrong. It's much easier than it looks like. You just have to look into it.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniela, for your answers to the questions of the participants. And before closing, I wanted to inform that we will have two other webinars, one in about 10 days, and the third one week before Fancy Food Show. We will have also many activities before the Fancy Food Show, like for the companies interested in having one-to-one sessions with our US consultant to identify the buyers that will meet in Fancy Food Show. So they have to inform us, and we will organize the sessions. So thank you, Daniela. Thank you to
Thank
all the
you. An
participants.
honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, and see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.